This video module focuses on installing software on your own personal computer and laptop. We'll use several different software packages in this course, and by far the easiest way to do that is to have the installation on your computer. A couple of caveats before we jump in. First of all, we focus on a Windows 10 environment where you have administrative access to the computer. This isn't always true, but for most cases where you're using your own computer, this will be true. The software that we use, the vast majority of software we use, will also work in a Mac OS X environment and also in a Linux environment, but I don't have the specific installation instructions for those. However, all of these instructions are available online, so I don't think that should be an impediment to using either one of those platforms in the class. And finally, before we get started, I have a lot of experience in installing software. I've done this for a long time, but I'm not a system administrator and I'm not an expert. So you have to bear with me, and please give me any feedback that you have. If you find errors or if you have suggestions, I would be happy to hear those and incorporate those into the class instructions. Okay, let's get started. This will be a fairly short video module. All I'm really going to do is go through a few general rules and discuss those a little bit. We will not be installing any particular applications here, but in subsequent videos we will go through some installs, and I will try to expand along about these rules a little bit in those. So first of all, and this seems pretty obvious, you need to follow the instructions in the installation prompts. And more importantly, you need to remember what you select. So when a prompt asks you for something and you make a choice, you need to remember that. If you don't know the answer to a prompt, you basically have two choices. The first choice is to just go with the default. This is easy and it usually works, not all the time, but it usually works. Or you can search the web for the answer. And so this is going to be more involved and it's going to take more time, but it's easier to customize a particular installation. And so again, by far the easiest thing to do is to go with the defaults, but sometimes you want to go through and look for the answer. Secondly, thing to remember is that installation issues, when things fail and problems occur, they just happen. Not all systems are configured the same, and it's not feasible for a software application to have instructions, specific instructions for all possible cases. So you need to learn to deal with problems. Keep track of the errors. Just saying I ran into installation errors and with no additional information doesn't help anybody help you. You can't get help without knowing what issues you ran into. And two basic ways to do this. One is to use screenshots. The way that I do that is by using the snipping tool. So let me just show an example here. So you can just search your installation for snipping tool. It's standard part of Windows, and you can just select new and then highlight the part of the screen that you want, and then you have a screenshot of portion or all of a window or the entire desktop, which you can then email to someone or paste into a document or something to provide more information about what the error that you ran into is or errors are. And so that's one way. A second kind of related way is by keeping an installation log. And so this is where you just keep notes on the process that you follow when you go through the installation. When I do this, I use the package OneNote to do this, but there are many other ways to do that and many other applications to do that that can assist you with that. The key is by just keeping a systematic log of what's done. Now, again, in this case, these two options, screenshots are really simple. An installation log is more involved. And so a lot of times you're not going to do the installation log, but it can save you time in the end, especially if you have to go back through and recreate problems that, recreate an installation from scratch. Finally, don't be timid. You have to do. You can't. The only way to learn to do installation is to actually do it. Okay, and you're going to run into problems sometimes, and you're going to run into installation errors, and when that happens, again, you need to learn the process of using the web to help you diagnose those errors and fixing the problems. And you also need to learn to uninstall from the control panel. So again, if you just type search and go to control panel, pull up your control panel, there is an option for programs and features, and if you're not familiar with this, you should definitely have a look. And this is the basic tool that you would use to uninstall packages if you want to, say, start over, or if you want to change an installation. And so finally, as I said, if you want to learn to install software, you have to do it. There's no set of instructions that's going to be complete and error-proof, and you just have to get used to the process. And if you have any suggestions, or if you find things that are particularly useful to you, please let me know and I can incorporate them into future versions of this video.